Hello, myself and everybody else. So far, this is video 4, and today, basically, I'm just going to focus on looking at one of my other books that I have, which is called Cartooning the Head and Figure. So far, I just wanted to start on this one because this kind of has a lot of words in the beginning, and it can take a while just to get to the actual stuff in it. So, basically, I just kind of want to just look at that and just kind of get the beginning part out of the way, so later on I can just actually start with the stuff in it and be able to actually practice and everything. So just gonna go ahead and look at the book and everything right now. I worked with it a little bit before, but I didn't make it too far in the book because in the beginning it goes into a really lot of depth, specifically on just emotions, and there is a lot of stuff on that in this book. So yeah, but so far when we started off, it just says partial contents of Cartooning the Head and Figure. Just has like a lot of little pictures and everything here, like just reading some of the things here. How to create characters for gag panels and comic strips, something for that. Cartoon sketching, drawing crowds made easy. So are things that do sound really interesting. A thorough study of emotions and expressions. That is an understatement because there is a lot of pages on emotions and expressions. Even like the muscles in the faces are in this book. Same thing with how to draw cartoon girls. Same thing. Like looking at the contents, there is a lot on those two things alone. Like so far looking at the contents and everything here, the contents page. So far starting off, we'll be looking at the face and the head. So it just has stuff like, for example, cartoon faces and 4 easy steps. Side and front of noses, eyeglasses, eyes and brows, mouth and chin, mustaches, beard, head shapes, hair, female, women's hair, men's hats, just various things like that. But then we get to the emotions later on around like page, no, see, yeah, the emotions and facial expressions around like page 10. And that goes really thorough because each page is on its own emotion. So basically, like, we have anger, fear, surprise, sorrow, yelling, worrying, thinking, meditating, just a lot of stuff like that. Laughing, smiling. Yeah, so far, just that starts from like page 10 all the way to page 22. So they make sure to go really thorough into the different emotions. Especially like page 22 has muscles of expressions, which that's like where I stopped just glancing at it. I really haven't like read it, but there's a lot of things I practiced before, maybe just like a little bit of stuff, just like trying to draw a character, something like that. And so far I made a little bit of progress, but again, just this was between like very big gaps, just reading something, stopping for like several weeks, coming back, reading it again. So in reality, it just kind of like helps for me to just start this again and just go back through it. So but continuing on, because the other thing I said is like an understatement, is yeah, just a whole section in this book itself called The Pretty Girl, drawing pretty girls, girls transition to cartoons, type of girl cartoon profiles, and a step-by-step time procedure. Let me see what else. More tips on a pretty girl head, 8 easy steps in drawing teenage girls, highly styled cartoon girl heads. It's just a whole bunch of stuff on that from page 24 to 32. And that's just this whole thing. Like, so basically just understated how much it goes into those two a lot. But even there's like a lot more like caricature stuff. And then once we get like page like 35 is when we actually start getting into like the standing figure and everything and stuff for drawing cartoons. Same thing with the figure in different positions around like page 49. And then the walking figure. So basically after it goes into like emotions and girls, then it goes into actually how to like draw the like figure of the cartoon itself. Then 57 is over 150 side view walking combinations. because this book does contain like a lot of pictures and examples of like things they're going to like get you to do. So you definitely will have reference and a lot of things to combine, go off of. And if you're ever like, oh, I don't know what this looks like, there's absolutely something in this book. You can just look and be like, okay, so that's an example. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's around 60, the running figure. Around 65, the hands. 70, the feet. 71, the clothing. 73, the styles and techniques. Editorial and political cartoon approaching the editorial cartoon. Yeah, so we're just a lot of stuff. The advertising application, newspaper, magazines, television, etc. Around like 82. The baby and child around 93. The sports cartoons around 98. And even then special problems like cartooning old age, hobos and tramps, low and high society, the heavy figure, prehistoric character. Like, this thing has a lot of information. And it's only like, says a final word around like page 120. So within 120 pages, it has a lot of like details and examples on just like almost anything you could need for any kind of like old kind of style cartoon character you want. For like newspapers, TV, just something you can just like anything you want to make up. It's just like, okay, here's an example of it. Looking at after the contents is the preface. And this is another thing about this book. Again, there's a lot of words in this book. Like, I sound really bad just saying that, where it's like, oh yeah, a whole bunch of words. It's a book, of course, but I mean, like, there's a lot. And just kind of sitting here reading through all that, it really wouldn't just, just be me just kind of sitting here droning on, reading all this. I got the book, I can read it still, but I will put like a picture or something up so anybody else can just like look through it real quick. But if I just had to like pick and choose some stuff out of this. There is a universal something in human nature which loves light touch in most any given situation. Of all people, the cartoonist develops an affinity for this. Of course, eventually it's not enough just to cartoon a character in the middle of a peculiar circumstance or outlandish predicament, but being able to do it and do it well opens up doors in many rewarding fields and markets. Also, another thing says this book seeks to familiarize the learner not in just one phase of cartooning, nor in just one way of doing it, but in multiple ways and means, styles, and techniques. Another advantage in presenting so many different preliminary steps in all the related cartoon fields is that the student is less likely to become a copyist of somebody in particular who has laid claim to a single style. Every student has within himself the potential to draw like no one else. Such individuality can be best promoted by sketching the drawing muscles and expanding the cartoon concept. Looking at this, there is no absolute set prescribed way of doing any kind of cartooning. There are, however, new lines of approach when will in no way deter artistic development, but will rather serve to channel practice efforts into enjoyable wide area of creativeness. Man, I can't read sometimes. But yeah, basically just reading through like some of the stuff, the person does really think highly of cartooning, and they really do want somebody who has this book or anybody looking into this to genuinely just know what they think about it and genuinely have an idea of what they're going to be getting into, and they genuinely want to teach somebody how to like draw cartoons without it just being like, oh, here's a style somebody had, just copy that and move on. Like, now it genuinely does want you to just like come up with your own characters, as well as just like taking like references and stuff, using those, making your own thing. Yeah, but so far that was like the whole opening of the book. If we just take a look at like, let's say like the first 2 pages, because they're very like, well, kind of short, not exactly, but sort of. Like, okay, looking at the first page, cartoon faces in 4 easy steps. Let's pull back the curtain from our own latent creative abilities, provided you are new to the funny business of cartooning and introduce you to some whimsical people who perhaps you don't know could come from your own pencil. And then shows an example of just like a very simple character somebody can make. Just first draw any kind of semi-round enclosure. Whether it is lopsided or crooked makes a little difference. Next, as a starter, draw a bulb-like nose somewhere in the central area where we're accustomed to wearing this rather vital breathing figure. Above the nose, draw spots or slits for eyes, which have been done in the stages numbered 3 on this page. Beneath the nose, draw a mouth, either smiling, A, indifferent, B, mad, C, or laughing, D. Letting it go at that, already you have some funny faces. If you wish to add some extras like ears, wrinkles, and forehead or around the mouth, hair, hat, collar, or tie, this may be done. See figures in the 4 column. There are many people in this world who have doodled miles of nothing while talking on the phone or killing time with restless fingers. Why not turn your markings into pleasurable and even profitable cartoons? It can be done. Basically just showing that even if your circles aren't perfect or you just like messing around, you can make something, which like at least does give you more confidence in like if you have no experience drawing or if you genuinely are just trying to get started. You can look at this and just go, if anybody could just make something, like break it down, make it look this simple, it absolutely does like build confidence and just make them go, yeah, I can do something like that, because I have no skills at all, which I'm hoping to change. So absolutely looking at these pictures make me go, I could probably do that. So far, the next page, simple yet profound facts about cartooning. At the outset, there are several important factors at work on the side of the cartooning student. One is the very positioning of the facial features to illustrate. Then it just has set down 4 dots, set down 4 dashes, and 4 checks. Anyone can line them up in that way. Now starting in with each set, but instead of making the 3rd in a row, drop this one below center of the first 2, then the 4th one below the 3rd so that they appear in this arrangement. Basically just made like a simple like face. It's easy to see that the marks, which only a moment before they were simply cold dots, dashes, and check, have come to life. Each set has an expression all its own. When these faces are placed inside simple circular shapes, you find that we've created several cartoon heads. Yeah, so we're just showing is just that simple, just to make like a simple face, just lines and dots, without overthinking it, keeping it simple. If a series of the dot, dash, or check men were done at random side by side, the viewer would readily notice that the individuals would not look exactly alike, but would possess certain personality differences. Just showing off the other ones, like A, just all dots, seeing how they look different. B, all dashes, y'all look really depressed. And then C, just same thing, kind of look all smug. Just using only checks or dashes or dots. So far, again, I do like I was just breaking it down, just keeping it simple, just being like, you don't need like a whole bunch of detail, just keep it pretty simple and small and still get a face or get something out of it just to like begin with. Just keeping it light and, just letting you slowly get into it. Next, when slight pressures are exerted on the pen, in the act of placing the markings is offhand within the head, pronounced individuality shows up in the people. Yeah, just showing like how just little differences and stuff can just change the expressions or change the personality of it a little bit. Just really not that much effort and stuff, but still get a whole different result. The foregoing serves to emphasize the fact that shades of expression creep into the simplest of facial features. This is another factor that is a tremendous asset to the cartoonist. Brows and facial lines about these 4 features can do much, but some of the greatest cartoons ever drawn have been without them. The ease with which such heads as these can be done should be an encouragement to the beginner, which it is, because again, just showing like make something this simple without like overthinking it basically just going, a kid can do it, you can do it too. It actually does make you feel pretty good about it. On the following pages, the separate facial features are discussed and illustrated. Again, understatement, there is a lot about that. We will get into that, and that will take a while, but there's a lot. It is interesting to create totally new faces by working these and their variations in combination. In connection with this study, investigate the various emotions which follows that are felt and experienced by man, and learn to incorporate them into the cartoon face. Body may react to the emotion. That is why some bodies are included in the section on emotions, but the emotion in the cartoon never escapes the face. Most humor is utterly dependent upon depending on what transpires in the face. If each cartoon head and the facial features of the next 6 pages were tried with all the other possible combinations or features presented, mathematically the heads would outnumber the population of the world. Basically just saying there's a lot of examples, and if you try combining them all, it would take forever. But just looking at both pages 1 and 2, it does give like just a simple rundown of what the book's going to be and what they're going to try to, teach you and get you into. At least just getting the beginner just like ready and just in the right mindset of just making something simple. No point in overthinking it. Just you're getting into it. So just, try various things and, keep it calm and steady. So yeah, looking through this book, I will just like try to just keep going through like various different things in it. Like the next part is side view cartoon noses. I will get into that like in another video and stuff, but for now I'll probably just like keep practicing just like little things, like again just practice drawing circles and everything, and just getting just like more comfortable using a drawing pad and doing stuff digitally, since I have to draw it on the computer to be able to record it. So I'll probably just keep practicing that and just see how it works out. But yeah, looking at the book, I can tell this probably will give a lot of information that will probably be pretty useful. So I am excited to keep looking through this. And if anybody else is working through this as well, hopefully this helps you out too. Or if you have any advice or suggestions on anything, like I'll gladly like take any kind of like advice or anything. So yeah, but for now, to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.